Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Wrap Up the Semester and Gradebook Wednesday webinar. Joining me today are Lisa Kidder and Michael Spall. And the things we're going to cover today include the end of semester checklist that we've prepared for you, reviewing the Moodle ISU gradebook before entering your grades, and looking ahead to ISU Canvas. So up next, we'll talk about backing up Canvas course content.
All right, end of the semester. You should back up your course content. This is just normal end of semester. You should keep a digital filing cabinet of your backup files. You can go to backup, create a backup. It'll be in Moodle. It'll be an MBZ file. You don't need to open it. Just save it somewhere, just like you would if old school days before learning management systems. You would have a filing cabinet. You would have a folder where you had your course 1101 and you'd stick all the things in it. So do the same thing digitally. If you're teaching the same course, you can use the restore and import into the next. But this also becomes a reference for you to look back into if you want to restore an old course. At this point in time where we are looking at the transition to a new learning management system, we do encourage you to save a backup copy on your own device of your current courses. That way you can bring those in to the new system. So it is possible to save all of your data without the student data mixed in. You definitely want to keep your syllabi. Syllabi are added all over the place, and then you need those individually. You can back up your whole course. It's in a zipped file. Not that you can open it and dig through it. Well, you could, but it'll be a little bit confusing. But it can be restored into a learning management system. Another thing you might want to consider is exporting just your question banks. So if you want to export your questions and just hold those in on their own, that can be helpful, especially as we transition into Canvas. You don't need all of your questions. So maybe you just go through your question bank and pull out some of the categories that you know you're using. So if you have a category that says fall 2011, you probably don't need to back up those questions. You can save copies of your assignment instructions and rubrics as well. These are different pieces of your course that you can think through and what you need to save. And when you save these things individually, that means they become accessible. So maybe you do want to work on updating your rubric so you can export the instructions and the rubric and work on that in a different file so that you can then copy and paste into the learning management system that way. Other common activities, I do encourage you to come up with this common set of instructions. So then maybe you pull down, maybe this time around, you look at all of your forums and you make all of the forum instructions consistent. But you can separate those and save them separately if you want, in addition to your whole course. In terms of storage, because I know you're going to ask me that question, what kind of storage is this? It will depend. The things that take up the most storage are videos and images and audio. So if all you have are text documents or text within the learning management system, your backups are not going to be that large. If you do have videos in there, videos should be moved to Panopto. So then you're not backing them up, they're backed up over there. The other thing is PDFs. And on those ones, I'd say, should you be housing the PDF or should the library? Something to look into. So again, to save on storage, because that's going to be a question as you think about these things. You definitely want to make sure you have your signature assignments available as well. So these are usually connected to assessments and program assessment, course assessment, accreditation, things like that. You might want to have those separately so that you can easily pull them when needed. For content with student data, that would be like exporting your gradebook. Please remember to follow FERPA policies. You want to make sure that you are not storing student data on a device that is not secure. And you should ask yourself as well, what do I actually need to save? Gradebook is the most common one. Again, some of those signature key assessments, you might need to save them for accreditation purposes. Project examples. As you do projects, you may want to save a student example and ask them if you can use their work as an example in a future class. That can help with building some of the resources that would help in the mission in the future. Again, make sure you ask the student permission and then anonymize it so that it becomes, this is a submission from S. Brown, so we don't know exactly who it is. The other thing that you might want to save, and the reason you might want to save these is if there are student issues or challenges. So now you're going to ask me, what are the archive procedures? We have that information on our website. So we do have procedures, and they kind of vary by platform. Typically, you want to make sure that you save the things in the right places. From our perspective, we want to make sure that things are available to you 4 weeks into the start of the same semester. So that's the least that we do. So we're in the end of fall. We want to make sure that you have access to your fall courses at least 4 weeks into next fall. We encourage you actually to start moving your fall courses over sooner rather than later for the Canvas transition. Zoom, you can see that they are stayed. They will auto delete after 250 days. You get an email that says something's about to be deleted. If you have other publisher resources, you'll want to check with those as well. In terms of Panopto, this is a new program. We'll do our best to follow our current, similar to the Moodle policies, and we'll see how many videos everybody saves and where we have to adjust on that. But we do want to make sure that you are capable of continuing to teach throughout and not lose your data. That's what we want to make sure that happens. Next, Michael's going to talk about grades.
The first thing you do is to review your grade book and make sure the grades look like they're right, and double check a few things there. And if you have questions, don't hesitate to call or email or set up a free busy appointment through our calendar on our website. And then the next thing is fill in any missing grades. By default, Moodle counts dashes as things that haven't been graded yet, haven't occurred yet, and they don't count as zeros against the students. Because Moodle by default does a running grade book. And so if I was one of your students and I missed the final and I deserved a zero for that, make sure to fill in a zero, and it's fairly easy to do. If you go to single view, we have documentation about this on the website, but if you would like to call in and get any additional help with that, please do. And then entering grades into my ISU. I always like to recommend to have Moodle and Banner side by side, and you can minimize the gradebook to show just the final grades of students. You can look at just like the single view and see just one column of the grades, and it makes it easy to enter your grades right there and avoids getting off on the wrong row type stuff. And that's it for end of semester grades.
All right, so what about Canvas? I left this slide intentionally blank because I knew that the questions would come up in this meeting. So as you mentioned before we got started, will Canvas push grades automatically to my ISU? Not at the beginning. That is something that we will work on. In terms of all of this end of semester wrap up, all of this stays the same. One cool feature coming into Canvas that you will have is you can actually set up a grade policy to automatically assign zeros like 4 days after the assignment is due. You get to put in the number there. So that's something that you can explore as you're setting up your Canvas course, is looking into those grade policies to automatically put those zeros in, so you don't have to. You still should double check at the end of semester, but you can automate some of that process throughout the semester so students have a more honest, true grade to date in terms of that. As you're looking at your grade book, you'll want to consider some of the unusual things that you may do in your grade book. If you add up all the points and divide by the total, the Canvas gradebook does that. If you have items in categories and you weight the categories to find out the final grade, Canvas gradebook will do that. If you do anything more extensive than some of that basic, you might want to reach out to us now to consider how your gradebook can look in Canvas due to some of those differences. I'll answer, can you add extra credit? Yes. Can you drop the lowest? Yes. Moodle does some things with drop the lowest that saves you from doing complicated math, but Canvas might show some complicated things with the drop the lowest at the beginning of the semester type of thing. So as you're looking at your course, you'll want to think about how your grades might look in Canvas. Again, add up all the points, divide by the total, you're good. Weighted categories, you're good. Anything outside of that, give us a call so we can talk about your gradebook, and give us a call now so that we can help you get your course in. Note about Canvas, teaching in Canvas will happen beginning in fall 2025. So if you would like to request a sandbox for your fall course right now, and then you can just import it in and have it ready, start working on your fall 2025 course in Canvas, you can do that. All the information about Canvas can be found on the Canvas transition website, including links to the form to request a sandbox. Fall courses will automatically be created around April. So if you want to wait until then, you can, but I encourage you to get started sooner. So hopefully I answered a lot of those questions and gave you something to look forward to with those zeros, those automatic grading in Canvas.
Great. So thank you everyone for joining us. If you want to learn more about how to find the Tiger Tracks articles that we've mentioned, or to find previous recordings of Wednesday webinars just like this one, or to see more about the Wednesday webinars we'll have next semester, these links, and I just put a link to this set of slides in the Zoom chat, those will take you there. You can also always meet with us in the ITRC. You can email us at itrc@isu.edu. Call us on your phone at 208-282-5880. You can come join us in the basement of Oboler Library on the Pocatello campus. We're in room B17. And of course, you can always make an appointment with us. It can be via Zoom, it can be over the phone, it can be in person. We're happy to work with you. Just let us know which way works best for you. And watch Idaho State Today for future Wednesday webinars. We'll be announcing them throughout next semester. And of course, make sure to keep an eye on the ISU Canvas transition website, because that's where any news related to the Canvas transition will appear. So thank you all for joining us, and look forward to working with you more in the future.